Welcome back to the channel, guys. We are post Hot Rod Power Tour 2024, and we made it back in our T-bucket, but not without issues. So where do we begin on this sucker? I think one of the biggest issues that we had was overheating, and I put a breaker bar in here a few times, tried to tighten this up, and this belt is not gonna get any tighter here. And look, it just slips. So that definitely doesn't help when we were parked in, while sitting in traffic, having absolutely no airflow. It looked like it was spinning, but it wasn't really spinning. So we're gonna have to add that to our list to address. The other thing too I noticed is this is just a uh-oh on me here. Fuel filter. It's about to rub a hole through it because it's sitting right here on the alternator mount. So we'll add that to our list there. We're also having some blow-by here and there, especially on the front of the motor. I think doing this this trip really opened my eyes to what needs to be done on this thing. And we're having a little bit of blow-by down here right on the chain cover. And you can see it's only been parked here for about a day and it's already dripping. It's kind of developing leaks, kind of like all over the place. So if you've been following since the beginning of the build, you'll know that this motor was, I like to call it my Facebook Marketplace crackhead special. Owner claims it was rebuilt, well, overhauled, whatever that means. But I don't think it was. I think she's tired. I think she needs a little bit of love. So we've got something special planned. We're gonna end up taking all this apart. We're gonna pull this sucker out and we're gonna do a good overhaul on it. We're gonna bust it open, we're gonna check on it, but we'll go ahead and add that to our list. The other issue too was this side kept coming loose on our header. Kind of was looking at it. Headers normally just come loose for what they are, but he ended up finally blowing out our gasket up here, so we have some significant blow-by going on as well there. So we'll add that to the list. I may repaint these actually. The header paint that I used did not really like it. Now the big issue here, which we were going to address in this video, is been having issues with this side. We're still having significant issues with this side. It grinds, it squeals, it squeaks, and it's leaking. But day 4, I believe it was, I don't know, Kentucky to Ohio, we had a full axle blowout down here. We had gear oil all over the place. So we're gonna take this side apart too. We're gonna pull the axle out here, pull the axle out there, drain the fluid, and let's see what the heck is going on down here, because it kind of came out of nowhere, and now both sides, I mean, besides the brake and everything kind of locking up on that end, both sides are just flinging gear oil all over the place here. I've driven it a little bit since then, not too bad, but it might just be out of gear oil. Almost forgot to mention, there's no way to fill this up during our trip, and it became an absolute burden to keep pulling this off just to get the gas tank. So eventually we're going to install a billet gas cover right over the little hole. We can flip it open and put our nozzle in there. Just pulling the lugs off, I got like a total whiff of gear oil here. Ooh. Almost looks like there's a ton of gear oil completely just caked, all on, burnt on, but we'll clean all this up and see how it works out. Actually, you know what? I got replacement rotors. Since we're gonna do this, we're just gonna do it right. We're gonna replace it. Kind of tired of chasing little issues here and there, but not too bad. We'll pull the pads, check the pads as well. Let's jump to the other side. So this is crazy. Look at this. Now we replaced this a couple episodes back, and our caliper's not even sitting straight on the rotor again. It's even worse on this bracket. It's like completely just, wow, look at that. That's crazy. It's almost like something's hitting it and bending it, or maybe our brake caliper is just way too powerful. Nah, I doubt that's it. But contact wise, you're getting full contact on one side, not on the other, but man, that is baffling there. Wow. We'll get this taken apart. This one's really gotten me really curious on this one. Maybe it has something to do with the other side. I have no idea. We do need to drain the gear oil out of this sucker. Let's see if we got any metal shavings. All right, let's see what we can get out of here. All right, so let's say that doesn't look too bad there. Looks pretty good. Just a few contaminants here and there. but not too bad. Not too bad. You can still see some floaties, nothing big, but we're still kind of in that break-in period. I think we're, well, actually, you know what, we're about 4,000 miles in on the T-bucket, so we're past that break-in period, but just a few little things here and there. Not too bad, not too bad. I feel like a master at this point. Taking this thing apart so many darn times. Pads on this side don't look too bad, so we'll go ahead and keep these suckers. Rotor. Yeah, this one's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. We'll get that one clean. Well, no, I keep kind of contradicting myself here. I don't know. We'll think about it. I think I may have actually found my problem with the other side. I don't know. Just a quick look at it, and notice there weren't any washers on the bolts over there. So I wonder if it's providing, well, they're obviously providing support, but we'll look at that side. Just notice that. And that bracket looks fine. No bends, no nothing in that one. So this one might have just been a dummy install on the seal. We'll find out. So I think I may have found one of our issues here. These bolts that actually hold the axle bearing on, they are loose. I mean, they're about as loose as they can get. So I think we may have found our issue. That there may not actually be anything wrong with it, but we're gonna still pull it. Now take a look at that right in there. So it's completely jammed in like something hit it. But I don't know what would have busted that out. It's almost like it's dented. Not too sure. But, it's a total mystery. Yeah, that thing is just completely, that's wild. I don't think we're gonna really know much until we get that off. Man, what would cause that? It's almost like something hit it. Ooh, that feels rough right there. Well, I think we found the smoking gun here on the, I don't know how much this was actually related to the seal itself, but this thing is all torn up. It's all pitted just right in that little area right there. The bearing feels fine, very dry, but I don't feel any ridges on it like it was hitting that. I don't know if that was actually causing any issues, but that's pretty wild right there. So I'm really curious to see what the other side looks like now. I mean, that was just, what, 4,000 miles? Maybe there was something in here that got caught. I have no idea. That is, look at that. Well, for the driver's side, it looks like it wasn't actually the caliper bracket that looked like it was off. It looks like we have another bracket that's now bent. That was the one that we replaced last time, but this one is now off, but it looks like right where it seats on the axle itself, it's not seated anymore, almost like it's bowed out, and I wonder if this is causing issues, but figure out why that is bending. Now, for the brakes, look at this. I think this is part of the issue here. When your backing becomes delaminated from your brake pad itself, and it wasn't sitting fully on there, I think that'll cause some issues. So those will go in. I think actually those might be lifetime warranty. We'll check on that one there. They might be Duradust. I'm not too sure, but still baffling. So everything's taken off on this one. This one actually doesn't appear to be leaking. Well, let's pull it out anyways and. Well, surprised it wasn't leaking. Look at that. That's wicked. So the actual seal is all eaten up on this one as well. Look at that. All torn up. You know, these were Timkins, but I'm starting to think maybe these were like counterfeit Timkins. I'm surprised that wasn't leaking. Or maybe it was. We were just really low. That's crazy. It's never ending on this side over here. Yeah, it's just that spot when you spin it. Everything else looks great. Just that one. How do these bearings feel though? Yeah, that bearing still feels good. It's not seized up on the axle. On the other side, it appears that it was seized up and wasn't spinning freely. Let's look at the race in there and see how that looks as well. Oh, there's a ton of junk on the end of that. I don't see any speckly shinies or nothing. So the race on this one looks pretty good. Nice and clean, but the bearing on here freely spins. It's just the seal that's all torn up. Kind of sucks you got to press all this off just to replace that seal. It's unfortunate. It's a pretty expensive combination for these, but that looks good. We won't touch that one. But you saw how the bearing moves freely and then it's riding on the axle, but on this one, it's like it's seized up. You can't turn it at all. And only the rollers are actually spinning. So I wonder during the blowout at some point, till we noticed what was going on, I wonder if it just superheated, kind of seized up, and even though it was still spinning, it was only riding on the outside. It wasn't riding like on the axle itself, because that feels pretty seized up. Not the rollers, but the actual ring itself. That's wild though. So we got a double failure essentially on both sides and the rear. And you know, the other thing I noticed too when I was over here is transmission's leaking again. We only jacked it up just a little bit. It's not even on some weird angle, but yeah, it's kind of spewing out up front. So I think when we pull that motor, we're going to address the axle seal, or not the axle, the transmission pan seal, and we're just going to take care of that. I'm tired of all the spots on the concrete, but yeah, we're going to have to get that pulled there. So we figured out our culprit essentially. We haven't really figured out what's causing it just yet. It's pretty frustrating. I'm going to get some parts ordered for this sucker here so we can get everything back together. We are going to have to press some bearings on the axle for this sucker here. So we're going to take a trip up to our local shop. I got somebody up there who's actually going to press it for me. We're just going to do both sides, but I'm going to keep looking into this thing. Got to figure out what's actually causing some serious failure back there. I think I'm running out of room over here. I got motor build on one side here and like T-bucket right here, but I have one of the set 20s. What I did notice on this Timken, hoping it's not a knockoff here, but this one is actually pre-packed. The one that was on the T-bucket was not actually pre-packed, and a little bit of a different color. Actually seems like it's almost like it's a better quality, a lot thicker than the one that's on here. I noticed this one was black, like this one, but the driver's side one, it was blue, so I'm not too sure what that one was. And then we have two brand new, essentially they're just GM G-body rotors, so for our metric rear there. All right, gearheads, that's all I got for you in this episode on the T-bucket here. We're gonna get some more stuff ordered essentially. We're gonna keep kind of digging into this thing a little bit in the meantime. We gotta figure out why we're losing what we're losing in such a short span. So check out the description below. I got some important links down there for you as well. Hopefully we can get another episode up next week, get this thing back on the road, testing it, maybe do a little road trips here and there. And then I think it's time to, bam, probably pull that motor if we don't run into any other little issues. But in the meantime, if you haven't been following the Goblin build, getting some of the videos up for that. We're rebuilding this LNF Ecotech here, so still a long way to go on this sucker here. Got all the pistons out. Surprisingly, motor's in better condition than I thought it would be. So we'll get this one knocked out, and then that'll be the next one to go on the stand. Or actually, got another stand. We might just have two builds going on at once. So in the meantime, make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe, the share. Make sure you share it with your friends, your enemies, your cat, your dog, the old lady across the street that calls cops on you all the time, and see you next weekend.